All right, so we're continuing on with Unit 2, and we're going to be looking at solve linear equations in one variable. Okay, so this is kind of just a really nice little easy refresher on solving equations with just x to the first power. Okay, so here's our steps. We're going to use the order of operation to simplify both sides first. Okay, and then what we want to do is we want to collect all of our like terms. So all of our x terms go on one side, all of our constant terms go on the other side so that we can isolate that variable, okay? And then we just solve for x by getting rid of the coefficient that might be stuck on it, okay? So let's look at some examples. On this first one, notice I need to take care of whatever is being done outside of the parentheses, right? Order of operation. So anytime you see a negative outside of the parentheses, that's the same as doing the opposite of what's in those parentheses. Or you can think of it as distributing a -1. So if I distribute a -1 in here or do the opposite, it's just going to change the signs of what's inside here. So this is going to become a -x and now a +2. On the other side, same thing. When I distribute this negative, I'm going to get a -4x and now a +1. Okay. Oops, sorry, my pen is not working with me. There we go. Okay. And now from here, we want to combine like terms. Okay, so notice here I have two x terms and they're not on the same side. So I want to get those onto the same side, and it doesn't matter if you move them to the left or to the right, you'll get the same answer either way. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and move mine to the left. So I'm going to move this 4x by adding 4x. All right, we do the opposite operation. So that will give me a +3x plus 2 is equal to now just a 1. And then I need to get my 2 over here with my 1, right? I have two constant terms and they're not on the same side. So I'm going to move my 2 to the other side since it's a +2. To move it, I'm going to subtract. So that leaves me with 3x is now equal to a -1. I ran out of room, so I'm going to move it up here. 3x is equal to a -1. And now that I have my x term completely isolated, now I need to get x completely isolated. So I just divide off that 3, right? This is like 3 times x. So to undo that multiplication, I divide. So I divide on both sides, which gives me x is equal to -1/3. Okay, let's look at another one. Same idea, simplify on both sides as much as possible first. So on this side, I'm going to distribute in this 2. So that will give me 2x minus 4 plus 1 is equal to, now on this side, the -4 doesn't need anything, but this quantity has a negative in front of it, which needs to be distributed in, which will create that to be -x minus 5. Okay, now I'm still not done simplifying on each side because I have like terms already on each side. So on this side, I'm going to combine my -4 and my 1. So I have 2x minus 3. On the other side, I can combine my -4 and my -5. So I end up with -x minus 9. Okay, and now I can go ahead and start moving all my x's to one side and all my numbers to the other. So I'm going to add x to both sides, moving my x's to the left. Okay, so I end up with 3x minus 3 is equal to -9. And now I want to move all my constants to the other side. So I need to move this 3 over here with the 9. So I'm going to add 3 to both sides. And I ran out of room again, so I'm going to move up here. So on the left, I now just have my 3x. And on the right-hand side, -9 minus 3 leaves me with a -6. And then my last step is just to divide off that 3. So I end up with x is equal to -2. Okay, not too bad? Not too bad. All right, so let's look at one more and then I will have y'all try some. So same thing over here. Notice, even though these are in parentheses, there's nothing outside these parentheses. So I actually don't need the parentheses. It's not like the last one where there was a 2 or where there was a negative. So if there's nothing being done outside, we can actually just drop them. Okay, so I end up with x minus 2 minus 4. On the other side, this -5 doesn't have anything being done to it, but I do need to go ahead and distribute this 4 into the quantity. So 4 times x and 4 times -1, which will give me a +4x and a -4. Then I want to simplify on both sides of the equation, right? So -2 and -4 is going to give me a -6. So on the left, I have x minus 6. And on the right, I need to combine my -5 and my -4. So I have -9 plus 4x. Okay. And now I want to move all my x's to the same side. Okay. And I'm going to just keep moving them to the left. It really doesn't matter which side you move them to, but just for the sake of consistency, I'm going to move it to the left. So I'm going to subtract 4x from both sides. So I end up with -3x minus 6 is equal to -9. And then I want to move my constant over to the other side with the other constant. So I'm going to add 6 to both sides. So I have -3x is equal to -3. And then the last thing I need to do is just divide off that -3 that's stuck to my x, right? So that's going to leave me with x equals +1. Okay, not too bad. So you'll notice on the next page there are two problems for you to try, and go ahead and do those. Make sure you write your answers as reduced fractions. I don't think that it will accept decimals here. So like up here where we got 2/3, notice we didn't change that to a decimal, just write it as a reduced fraction. Okay, so y'all try number 1 and number 2, pause the video, and then play it again when you're ready to see the answers. All right, so here we go. So on number 1, we needed to start by first combining the 2x and the 3x to get 5x. On the right-hand side, we can combine the 6 and the 5 to get 11. We move our x's to the left, or I guess I moved them to the right over here. Geez, dang it. Oh well, same thing. I collected my x terms over here, which gave me 2x, and then I moved my 11 over here, which gave me -3. If you moved yours to the opposite sides, you probably ended up with a +3 and a -2x. Either way, it's fine. We go ahead and divide off the coefficient of our x, and we should get the answer of x equals -3/2. Okay? All right, when we look at the second one, again, we're going to take care of what is outside the parentheses first. That's our order of operation. So we're going to distribute this 2, which gives us 2x plus 10. Then we bring down that 1. We bring down our -5. We distribute our 4, which gives us 4x minus 16. And now we need to combine terms on both sides. So on the left side, I can combine my 10 and my 1 to get 11. On the right-hand side, I combine my -5 and my -16 to get -21. Right? And then I just need to collect my x terms on one side and my constant terms on the other. I moved my x's to the right side. If you moved them to the left, that's totally fine. I subtracted 2x, which left me with 2x. And then I moved my 21 by adding 21, which gave me 32. And then when I divide off my 2, I get 16. Now, if you moved your x terms to the opposite side, if you moved your 4 this way, that's fine. You probably ended up with something like -32 equals -2x. Either way, once you simplify your answer, you should end up with a +16. All right, so that is the end of solve linear equations in one variable. So you should now be able to do that assignment in Knewton. Okay, let me know if you have issues or you need help.